One person's bad game is another's diamond in the rough. I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games, and today I look at my guilty pleasures. And also, I brought a few friends.
Second Opinion Games.
My biggest guilty pleasure is probably Club Drive on the Atari Jaguar. First off, the Atari Jaguar is the system for guilty pleasures because the graphics just do not look good whatsoever. Almost every 3D game for this system is unbelievably blocky. And Club Drive is the prime example of just blocks and bad driving. The mechanics of this game are hilarious because you could be driving along on what you think is a straight path and all of a sudden your car just flips over. Also, a lot of love was actually poured into this game because there's Easter eggs hidden everywhere, and you'll want to explore every nook and cranny of this game in order to find them all. I am still finding little tiny things here and there that I have never noticed before. You could even find some codes to unlock some areas that were never meant to be seen, and they still just threw them in here anyway. The music is upbeat, and this game always puts a smile on my face. Unlike CyberMorph, which I completely hated when it first came out, which was the pack-in title for the system itself, I cannot believe I poured so much of my life into it to actually beat the game. I then set it down and said, I am never playing this game ever again. 10 years later, I came back to it to find that I kind of like this now. The controls aren't nearly as bad as everyone says they are. Once you start powering up your craft, you're gonna find out that this is actually a good time. Of course, you can still run into the walls just to hear the girl say, "Where did you learn to fly?" And almost every single person that says they even cleared the first boss in this game was probably lying to you. It's not for everybody, but it's clearly a guilty pleasure. Now it's time to hear from three of my underdogs in the gaming space to hear what their guilty pleasures are.
Hi, this is Retrodude here. Do you know what my favourite guilty pleasure is? The Lawnmower Man on the Mega Drive. Yeah, I know, quite a shock for a lot of people. I actually do love this game a lot. I will still keep this game because it's actually a really good timeless game that was actually, I think, secretly better than the Super Nintendo version. So I know it's got better music on the Super Nintendo version, but the Mega Drive version has got really good, excellent beats that really flow nicely, and the stages are very good fun. I like the it takes reference from the movie and then actually implements it in the video game form. Alright, there, and I like the fact this has got less content, so it cuts down the timing, which is good for me because I have a busy life. I just like the graphics on this one. It's not obviously beautiful, but isn't that the beauty of art? You know, flaws?
Hey guys, Marcello here from GameCube Galaxy. And Second Opinion Games reached out asking me what my guilty pleasure game is for the GameCube. For me, that game goes to Smashing Drive. Smashing Drive is a port of an arcade game developed by Spanish developer Gallico, where you race against a rival going from point A to point B throughout New York City in an as crazy and over-the-top style as possible. You'll pick up items like this sonic horn that obliterates all the cars in your path, or these 4x4 monster truck tires that can run over any cars in your way. Part of the game's addictive nature for me, though, was trying to find every shortcut across the game's 10 levels. These shortcuts are pretty wild, like jumping off this bridge here into a pier, or this one where you drive up the Empire State Building and show King Kong who's boss. The tight time limit will be challenging at times, and it will demand for you to find all the shortcuts to reach the end of each level. The game is really short, taking less than an hour to complete, but man, the amount of time I've invested into this, constantly replaying it, is something else. While the game's soundtrack is laughably bad, it's definitely so bad it's good status for sure. This game did get trashed by the critics, but it was always a guilty pleasure for me, so if you ever come across it, definitely try it out.
This is Jamie Wagner. I normally do tech videos, but today I'm going to tell you about my guilty pleasure. Space Giraffe for the Xbox 360. The sound effects are like sheep, and I don't even know what the heck is going on in this game. It's like it's giving me a seizure or something. I don't even know how to play it. I keep on like clearing points, but I don't even know how to play these levels. It's sort of like Tempest, but it's still way too confusing for me to figure out. I just can't stop playing it. This is not for thinking, man. This is for people who do way too many drugs. If you want a game that is a great guilty pleasure, then this is for you.
Another guilty pleasure system is the Sega Saturn, and Battle Monsters is probably one of the worst games I cannot stop playing. The monsters here are ridiculous to look at. Sometimes they're just normal looking people. The controls are somewhat easy to pull off, so hitting massive combos and taking down your foes is something that is actually fun to do. However, the controls do feel a little stiff, and the foreground often gets in the way of the action. Sometimes I just laugh in the middle of a match because of how much ridiculous crap is going on, and when people say they want to play a Saturn fighting game, I turn on this one just because it's hilarious. Of course, we always go to much better fighting Saturn games, but we always start here because it is one heck of a guilty pleasure. Dragonheart is another 2D action hack and slash that I cannot stand playing. No, instead, I think you'd rather be playing Shinobi, which everyone tells me is a terrible game for the system, but I love it. The controls are stiff, just like Battle Monsters and many of the other games for the Sega Saturn. However, feeling like a true ninja, flipping all around, picking up massive power-ups, and I don't even know what's going on the screen with this one power-up, but it seems to be very powerful and hacks people down to size incredibly fast. If you want a good 2D action platformer, well, chances are you're better off playing on another system altogether, but if you love ninjas and you're willing to suffer through some of the bad live-action cutscenes, well then Shinobi for the Sega Saturn is a game that you absolutely have to turn to. Eventually, when you get around to it. Trust me. Okay, now it's time to turn to some of my big boy friends that are making some of the best content out there, and let's see what their guilty pleasures are.
Serious Sam Advance. It's a game that people play for a couple seconds and then decide, nope, enough is enough. Player movement feels choppy, the frame rate is inconsistent. Your crosshair must become this symbol to be able to apply any damage to an enemy. All this in an arcade-esque first-person arena shooter? Well, if you sit through its many technical problems for an hour or more, you might come to find that, had this been on a more powerful system, it might actually be pretty fun. These days, I imagine it being much harder to pick up and enjoy. It's one of those things where you accept it for the time, but it's bad and I don't expect you to play it. That's just why I still do sometimes.
Thanks a ton for having us, Second Opinion Games. We got like 1 minute to talk about guilty pleasure games. I know I have one, and yours happens to be a mobile game.
A mobile game, which I think is a super easy guilty pleasure choice. But I will say, initially thinking about this, really tough.
And we're a retro gaming channel.
Yeah, so most of the gaming that we do is for a purpose, or it's for videos, or we just like the games.
Yeah.
So this was tough for me, but I had to go with a mobile game. I've been playing this game for years, actually. I'm like on level 3,000 something. I've been playing it forever.
That's cool.
It's called Homescapes. It's a puzzle game, but then every time you beat a puzzle, you get a star, and you can use that star to upgrade your house and your garden, and it's freaking weird. But by doing that, it gives you more lives to play more puzzles. So I like stay up late in bed playing it. It's just like a puzzle. Like you just match shit. And
He's never told me about this, and I view him
Guilty
differently
pleasure,
as a
dude.
gamer. He knows my guilty pleasure. It offers no value to the channel, and I can't honestly say even why I love this game so much, but it's one of my favorite video games of all time. MLB 08, the show on PS2.
2008.
2008, yeah. Had a franchise going since 2008.
What do you-
And I just dip in, dip out, dip in, dip out. I play every single game, every single season. And I ebb and flow with it where I'm really crazy into it, and then sometimes I dip out for a little bit.
I mean, it's an awesome pick up and play. Like you can leave, come
But
back.
when you have a retro video game channel and we're trying to play old stuff, new stuff, trying to create content, I spend probably 1,000 hours a year playing MLB 08 the show.
I wish it would tell you how many hours you spent total.
It's unreal. The save file's been the same since the game came out. Probably came out in 07. I can't remember how the years line up with sports games. Two horrible guilty pleasures from a channel that tries focusing on retro gaming.
Yes.
And we're focused on mobile games and
just-
MLB 08 the show.
Sometimes when you're at home, you just want something like comforting, like
It's like comfort food.
Yeah, it is. So you go.
Or whiskey before bed.
It's a nightcap.
Yeah.
And that's what we're about here. So
Love being on your channel, Second Opinion Games. Take care, brother.
I was asked by my friends at Second Opinion Games to put together my guilty pleasure game, and man, oh man, do I have a guilty pleasure game. Do you like Apex Legends? You probably don't. Well, I do. That's what makes it my guilty pleasure. It's not cool to like battle royales, but I love battle royales. You can sit down and play with them. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, get in and get out and get on with your life. I love all the characters you can pick. I mean, look at him. Look at this guy. He's got a cannon for an arm. This guy drops fart gases. Some weird ghost chick. This guy just wears a cool visor. Sorry, sucker. Uh-oh. I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna die. Look at my teammate over here. Trying to punch her. I like playing with the teammate that has no idea what they're doing. I'm getting out of here. See you, friends. I'm a bad teammate. Woo! Whee! And that's why this game's so much fun, because you can screw over your teammates. I was a bad teammate. Look at that. A bunch of nothing, but I still had fun for 6 minutes and 57 seconds. With any guilty pleasure, you just gotta have fun. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate you letting me be a part of your video. As always, you can find me over at Stuttering Craig here on YouTube and Craig Talks News for more fun like this.
Now I want to know what your favorite guilty pleasure is. If there's enough comments down below about it, well, maybe I'll make a sequel to this with some people returning and some all-new YouTubers that you absolutely have to check out. And remember, you should never feel guilty about playing a bad game. But of course, that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching.